Yes guys, welcome back to another Fantasy Football Fix YouTube video. My name is FPL Nacho, and in this video we are going to be discussing the top transfers going into Game Week 15. Now, a quick reminder if you didn't know already, the World Cup is happening after Game Week 16. So we have 2 game weeks left until that period, which means our transfers need to be focused on those next 2 games. And these 3 that I'm going to be selecting in this video have got exactly that for you. So if you are new around here, make sure you do hit the subscribe button on the channel. And if you enjoy the content, it would be fantastic if you could hit that like button on the video. So guys, without further ado, let's get into the first player. Now, it feels like there's no better place to start than Newcastle's Callum Wilson off the back of that 19-point haul in Game Week 14. 2 goals, 2 assists, has brought him to a tally of 6 goals in 9 games. Now, we need to remember for Callum Wilson, he has historically been such an injury-prone player, and that hasn't been any different this season. 9 games, but with 6 goals returned so far, he has proven that he is still such a fantastic player in front of goal. And you can see that in the expected goals per 90 so far this season. He's actually second best for all forwards in this department. Of course, you've guessed it right, Haaland being number 1 in this metric, but he is going to be number 1 in every single one. So he is kind of a bit of an anomaly. But Callum Wilson at 7.4 million is proven to be one of the steals of the season so far when he is available. And playing this Newcastle team right now, you can see when he is fit and raring to go and posting these sorts of numbers, he is offering phenomenal FPL value. Now, looking at the big chances per 90 minutes as well, posting some really solid underlying stats there. And again, in the top 5 for forwards so far this season. Now, the big thing that I really want to touch on in regards to Callum Wilson is not only him as an individual, but Newcastle as a team. Now, I think right now when we are investing into players as 2 weak punts, again, as I mentioned with this World Cup in the foreseeable future, not only do we need to invest in players that have good underlying stats and good upcoming fixtures, but I also feel much more confident when I'm investing in a team that are creating chances for the forward. And Newcastle are currently the 4th best for most goals scored so far and the 4th best for expected goals. So when we are having the deliberation about whether to go for Callum Wilson, Ollie Watkins, Calvert-Lewin in a similar price frame, while they may have equally good fixtures and the underlying stats may be kind of close, for me what tips it over the edge is how the overall team is performing. And when we're reading these sort of numbers for Newcastle right now, we're looking at a potentially top 6 side. And I see no reason why this is going to let up between now and the end of the period before the World Cup. Southampton away, I think, is a great fixture for Newcastle. And at home against Chelsea, a team that conceded 4 against Brighton, I see no reason why Newcastle can't continue their fantastic home record against this Chelsea team. And again, we've touched on it in previous videos as well. The thing that's really going for Newcastle right now is 1, the consistency in which they're able to name their starting 11. They only really change 1 position in that team, maybe 2 at top. So that really is helping them from a consistency point of view. And also the rest time that they are getting in this side. While the big 6 teams are playing midweek in the Champions League and Europa League, Newcastle are getting a full week's rest, which is really beneficial, in particular for someone like Callum Wilson, who is so injury prone. Now, we need to look ahead as well as look at the underlying stats. And the predicted points over the next 2 game weeks are 8.8, which is actually the 5th best for all forwards. Now, it's worth mentioning, of course, we need to take into account the price point of these forwards. And the forwards that are predicted to score more points than him are Haaland, Gabriel Jesus, Harry Kane and Darwin Núñez. 4 players that are all considerably more expensive than Callum Wilson. So to kind of wrap up Callum Wilson here, guys, I really do think that he is a player that we need to have in our transfer plans going into Game Week 15. I think if you're currently sat there with Ivan Toney, who is suspended for Game Week 15 and then plays Man City in Game Week 16, I believe that's a really easy sideways move for you to invest in Callum Wilson playing in this Newcastle team. Otherwise, I think if you're currently sat there with Mitrovic, that's also an option for you to potentially go to Callum Wilson Alongside, if you're a Haaland owner and he is ruled out until the World Cup, this could be an opportunity for you to downgrade into Callum Wilson and invest the funds elsewhere in your team. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. For me, Callum Wilson is the #1 forward that we need to target between now and the World Cup. So I touched on potentially downgrading Haaland to invest the funds elsewhere. Let's discuss a player in the premium department that I think is right up there as one of the best transfers in for Game Week 15. Now, that man is going to be Man City's Kevin De Bruyne. One of the players that has just been consistently ticking over so far this season, while not necessarily being the star in, week out. Of course, we've got the likes of Almiron that have been catching the headlines. Kevin De Bruyne has just been delivering the goods very, very quietly week in, week out. And you can see that on the stats on the page for you here. 12 games played so far, 3 goals. I would argue he's been pretty disappointed with his returns in front of goal, and 9 assists. Now, if we're just going to deep dive into some of the underlying stats right now, just to compare how he is getting on. Currently, expected goals is 2.2, which isn't the most promising from my side. Yes, we have historically known Kevin De Bruyne to be much more of a chance creator rather than a goal scorer. But with only 3 goals in 12 games, I would like to see the underlying stats in his expected goals to be considerably higher than they are right now. His XG is low, but his expected assists are decent at 5.75. So again, he is overperforming, but in terms of the expected assists, I'm more than happy reading that sort of underlying data there. Now, to compare to Phil Foden, because I know a lot of you are probably sat there right now thinking, isn't Phil Foden the better FPL option? Phil Foden's expected goals is 3.39, so, about 2 XG more than Kevin De Bruyne. But his expected goals is about 4 less at 1.77. So we are very much investing in Kevin De Bruyne, who is much more of a chance creator than Phil Foden. Rather, Phil Foden being much more of the goal scorer in the games that they have played so far this season. But again, we're putting the emphasis on Kevin De Bruyne right now because I really do think managers right now have a little bit of a deliberation about what to do with their midfielders. We currently have a bit of an underperforming Mo Salah at Liverpool with a tough game away against Spurs. And with the 2 fixtures coming up for Kevin De Bruyne at home to Fulham and at home to Brentford, I do see a lot of managers jumping ship from Mo Salah to Kevin De Bruyne to invest in their premium slot. And I have absolutely no arguments with any managers planning on making that move. I think with these next 2 fixtures, they are by far the best fixtures of any team between now and the World Cup. And if you don't have a double Man City attacking investment, I really think you do need to go down that direction if you haven't so already. Myself, I only have Cancelo and Haaland. And with the injury doubts to Haaland as we speak, I need that midfield coverage. And I really think Kevin De Bruyne is the differential choice to go for. Look at the rest of his underlying stats here. He currently has the most bonus points of all midfielders with 11. And again, that is such a big factor that a lot of managers don't consider is the bonus point accumulation. Because he's such a creative force in this Man City team, all it takes is an assist or a goal for Kevin De Bruyne for him to be basically on for max bonus points. And we compare that to someone like Phil Foden, who's only got 4 bonus points so far. You can see why, slowly but surely, Kevin De Bruyne is creeping further and further away from Phil Foden in the points department. Now, in terms of expected FPL points per 90, he is also the best in the midfield department of all midfielders at 6.53. Phil Foden on 5.59. So again, Kevin De Bruyne delivering in that department as well. And as I mentioned, the great thing about Kevin De Bruyne is that he's such a well-rounded asset. While his expected goals aren't as high as we would like to see, he is still a goal scorer alongside an exceptional chance creator. Now, other ones just worth noting, guys, going forward, we need to be looking at those projected points over the next 2 fixtures. Because remember, when we hit the World Cup, we all get unlimited transfers and we're all back to square one. 14.2 projected points over the next 2 games is the highest of all players. Now, Haaland is slightly less, but it is worth mentioning that has been changed due to the fitness status of Haaland right now. But with Kevin De Bruyne's projected points of 14.2, just to compare that to some other assets that you're probably considering right now, Mo Salah over the same period projected to score 11.5 points, and Foden projected to score 0.1. So quite a considerable difference there between Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne, kind of justifying maybe the additional 4 million that you need to spend on someone like Kevin De Bruyne. Now, again, similar to what I touched on in regards to Newcastle, when I am bringing in a player, I want to be investing in not only a great player and great fixtures, but a fantastic team. And Man City at home are absolutely the pinnacle of that. 27 goals scored so far in 6 home games is absolutely ridiculous. And they're playing 2 teams so far this season who historically haven't really travelled too well away from home. Brentford in particular looks like an amazing fixture to target. Now, it is worth mentioning, City are, as you would expect, overperforming their underlying stats. Their XG is only 14.66. So we have quite a considerable overperformance here. But I do think with the 2 fixtures that they have, it's no reason why they can't continue to overperform with those fixtures coming up. I think Kevin De Bruyne is an amazing transfer for you from game week 15 for the next 2 fixtures. In particular, if you don't have triple Man City already. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, guys. It'll be very interesting to hear what people's thoughts are on the price difference between Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. Right, guys, last up, we're going to touch on another player that has been quietly ticking over and frustrating quite a few managers. And you'll know exactly who this person is when he comes on the screen. And that man is going to be Brighton's Trossard. He has been the epitome of an FPL troll so far this season. Lots of managers investing in him on the blank game week to kind of get an investment on that fantastic Brighton fixture against Nottingham Forest. Since then, a lot of managers have moved away from Trossard, gone for the more expensive assets in Saka and Phil Foden, and really, they haven't delivered. And in the meantime, Trossard has ticked over with back-to-back 7 points, in particular scoring against Chelsea in game week 14 in a fantastic performance, it is worth noting. And Trossard has been someone who has been proven to be unbelievable FPL value so far this season. 7 goals in 12 games and an expected goals of 4.93 currently puts him as the 3rd highest scoring midfielder and the joint most goals scored of all midfielders in FPL. And while I would look at that and think to myself, yeah, but it's Trossard playing in a Brighton team, he's clearly not really delivering in the underlying stats department. In regards to XG, he has the 2nd best expected goals of all midfielders. And that is Mo Salah leading the way in 1st place. So really impressive to see Trossard at 6.9 million with the 2nd best expected goals of all midfielders. Really impressive to see there. Now, in terms of the expected FPL points per 90, he currently has the 8th best of all midfielders, which again, when we're looking at FPL value, this is really, really promising reading. I've put the shots on the screen here as well because, again, when I'm investing in an attacking asset, I want to be seeing high shot volume, and we're seeing that with Trossard as well. And what I really liked against Chelsea, whether it will continue is something we need to monitor. With the absence of Danny Welbeck, we saw Trossard be deployed as a centre forward. And we've seen him over the time play as a centre forward and deliver. And it's something I really want to see him in this new system that the new manager is deploying. Now, again, Danny Welbeck, when he returns from injury, we may see a slight change in the position of Trossard. But if he can retain that position in that front line, the next 2 fixtures, away against Wolves and against Aston Villa at home to finish before the World Cup, I think these are brilliant fixtures to finish off the season. And if you're currently sat there with Saka and you don't have the money to invest in the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, I think an easy sideways move or downgrade to Trossard is a fantastic move between now and the World Cup. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. What your thoughts on Trossard? Personally, I don't know if I can go back to him just because how badly he burnt me when I owned him so far this season. But it'd be great to know what your thoughts are in the comments, guys. So that is going to wrap up today's top transfers video going into game week 15, guys. I really hope it has provided some value to you. And if it did, be great if you could like the video. And of course, if you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. We still have plenty of content coming between now and the World Cup. So it'd be great to have you on board between now and then. So guys, all that leaves me to say is have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Cheers.